Hey everybody, welcome to Digital Visionaries, a brand new video series from Sitecore that seeks to shine a light on how brands, marketers, and technologists are building for a new area in digital experience. Today, I'm so delighted to be joined by Liz Nelson, our Senior Director of Product Management for the XM Cloud Group at Sitecore. She is not just one of the greatest voices in CMS market, but I would say in martech as well. Liz, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you, Sean.
It's wonderful to have you here in Dublin. I know that you're a recent transplant to Dublin. It's really cool to have you here in studio. Tell us a little bit about your product management journey and your journey to where you are in Sitecore today.
Absolutely incredibly new to Dublin, two weeks now. So yeah, I joined Sitecore very recently, actually about a year and a half ago, as a headless CMS consultant. And from there, I had joined the product group as a developer experience product manager.
Yeah.
And then in April, I took over the XM Cloud group. And it's been an incredible experience, and I'm just so proud of the team and everything that we've been doing. And I just couldn't. It's like one of the greatest career opportunities I've ever had, and I'm just unbelievably excited about.
I know you've got like some previous experience as well in the art world. You've had like a quite, I would say, a very interesting career journey even to get you to this point at Sitecore.
That is very true. I've had some twists and turns. I had studied art and design, and actually think that has brought quite an interesting lens to user experience and to user design and to the way I approach product management. But then I had also, from in the art world, did account management and international logistics for art exhibitions. So I just ran huge financial operations and have a business background in that sense. And then I decided at a certain point that I was managing these like big software projects for logistics in the art world, and I just really liked software. So I decided to go back to school for computer science. And then very quickly when I did that, I realized I liked AI more. So then I had shifted and got the degree in AI. And then, yeah, that's a lot of twists and turns.
Yeah, I think your experience as well in AI is particularly relevant in the age we're in today, right? It's early in 2025. We're talking about how the evolution of the CMS space is changing. One of the things I think from Sitecore's point of view is that change from traditional CMS models to headless CMS to composability and now the age of AI. How do you see that journey from a CMS perspective, from someone who's intricately knowledgeable in that space?
So yes, I just want to say from a personal perspective, it's been the most fun thing in the world to take this expertise and like curiosity about CMS and how the CMS, and then my academic background in AI, and like finally getting to join them together into like an actual career. But yeah, it's been great. So in terms of how I see AI influencing content, that was the question. So it's so interesting to me because we've been considering absolutely everything. Like when we look at AI, the first and foremost, you start to think about content generation, right? We see AI and we see, oh my gosh, these models that are phenomenal at generating content. And so that's the first place we go, is content generation. But we've been thinking so much about how this is going to affect the way we, from a content management perspective, the way we store content, the way we retrieve content, the way we discover our own content. And so from the content management perspective, we think about our customers, and they have these huge stores of their enterprise's content that oftentimes lies undiscovered. Like they lose sight of their content over time because there's just too much of it. And it's a wealth of their...
That kind of reservoir almost of...
Yeah,
Yeah, this
absolutely.
kind
It's a
of
lake. It's a
untapped...
content lake.
Yeah.
It's a reservoir of their own value that is oftentimes lost to the depths of that lake, right? And one thing that we keep thinking about is how we can build a content management system that is best suited to work with AI in the future. And when a content management system isn't just used by human users, but AI users. So it's not just about who's creating the content, but who's finding the content, who's building the content from structures and scratch, and who's eventually personalizing that content, and who's analyzing that content. And so we're trying to get down to the heart of a world in which humans and AI agents are working together in a whole content lifecycle in a connected way. And there's something that I keep coming back to, and I keep sort of working with my team on, is honestly, I have no idea where we end up in 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think any of us really do. We see the whole tech world is kind of making these wild predictions about where we all end up. And we're probably all going to be wrong. We might be like 10% right.
Yeah.
But what I do know is that this world we're headed to is a world where AI is a deep part of our lives. And so we're going to get the exact place we end up wrong, but we do know that AI is going to be there. And so that's why we're approaching this from a fundamental perspective. You're going to be leveraging AI in your content management systems. You're going to be leveraging AI to build content, to find content, to create content out in all of your channels, to run your campaigns, in your workflows. I don't exactly know how in all of the ways. And anyone who says that it's going to be one way or the other, that no websites are ever going to exist anymore, all human agents are going away, like AI is going to create everything, I don't really know. I don't know if anyone knows. But what we can do, and what we have been thinking about how we can help our customers, is to start to build for that world in the most foundational way possible. And that is what we immediately started on. At Sitecore and in XM Cloud, is to build for whatever that future would be for our customers.
And when you're talking to customers, and I know you've done many both on-site visits with customers and virtual all over the US, all over Europe and APAC, what are they saying to you in terms of their requirements? Are they coming to you looking for a steer, or have they got a clear view of how these things want to get shaped up?
I mean, I think that, like, they're dreaming along with all of us, right? Like they're dreaming of a world in which they can personalize to their audiences more, where they can, like I was saying, that they can discover and find their content, where they can tap into their own enterprise's knowledge in a better, more efficient way, where they can do more with less for their marketing teams. I think where they can differentiate and get be the brand in their industry that is forward thinking, that is the visionary in their space. And that comes with being creative, with thinking first and trying things out and experimenting.
I think that's what this series is all about, right? It's about digital visionaries.
Absolutely.
Both in our customer base, our partner base, and in the industry as well. I think it's interesting that you kind of bring that mindset to it as well, that you're almost kind of shaping this new future alongside our customer base, because as we know, XM Cloud is Sitecore's fastest selling product ever. And the amount of customers that we've been able to add to that, due in no small part to the work that you and the team have all been doing, has been phenomenal. How do you see the product XM Cloud from Sitecore evolving, knowing all of what your customers are asking you on a kind of a day-to-day basis?
So we have a few strategies regarding AI, but also just regarding the future of content management, the future of kind of what I see as the evolution of headless. So there's a few things in different directions that we're headed to help our customers into the future. And we kind of all see them coalescing together. Our customers, I'll say the first point is we have kind of honed in on this idea of marketer-owned technology. And that, to me, I see as the kind of evolution of what we would call headless, where headless technology is a philosophy of delivery that has allowed for greater speed to market, honestly, just better performance on the internet. But one of the challenges there is that it kind of centers control to developers. And that has been really powerful. And in a lot of ways, when you have a great IT team and you're kind of enterprise that is fully staffed with a strong development team, that's excellent. But for a lot of marketing teams, that they don't have an organization like that, and their marketing team wants to have more power to make changes and to push their brand without, having to coordinate and wait for, developers to make changes all the time. They just want to be empowered to change more and to push more. Now, obviously there's space for when and how to work and coordinate with developers. There's things that you can't do without software and code. But what we see as the kind of future is a space in which there is greater coordination between marketers and developers powered by AI, but that fundamentally the marketer owns the technology. And
That's a big shift for a lot of teams, a lot of organizations, right?
yes, it is. It's a big shift. And we think that can be done in a way that is still a lovely developer experience because of AI. And that's been a big focus of our developer experience product management, and our philosophy of marketing in general, is that the marketer should be the center of control. And that XM Cloud is a place where a marketer can feel empowered to drive their brand vision.
And they're the best equipped to really think about that customer experience, that end customer experience of that business, right?
Absolutely. And so, recently, in terms of some of the features and capabilities that we've created in the product, have been all about that empowerment. We've introduced what we call the marketer's dashboard. It's a place where you can come and see what's most important to you about your site, your channel.
Yeah.
And you can see your running analytics. You can see all of your running activities. So you can see the strategy that's being activated on that site, on that channel. And so you can see you're running A/B tests, running personalization, tests and targeting, and anything else that you need to configure is there for you. And this idea that your engagement with XM Cloud is not just about building a website, building a channel, and then leaving it to run, but a continuous optimization activity to continue to personalize, continue to optimize that channel for the best engagement, setting goals and KPIs and constantly being able to reach in and touch and make sure that you're meeting your metrics. This is what we see as the strategic imperative of the marketer's dashboard. So it's about strategy and optimization and just continuous engagement.
I would say, but when you think about the personalization angle behind that, we've recently done a report from the marketing team, which is about the future of websites. And only 32% of the marketers that we surveyed said that they were using personalization in a really effective way. So 3 in 10. Talk about how important embedded personalization is inside of the CMS, whether that's with XM Cloud, because we've got our bias from Sitecore, or otherwise.
So this is a key initiative for us, actually, is this idea that it's really hard for a lot of marketers to get started with personalization, for a lot of reasons. Some of it is to know. Well, we've talked to tons and tons of customers, and we've engaged with so many folks. I'll say a few things. Sometimes it's because during initial implementation of a project, you have a certain budget to get your site running.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, because it's not so easy to build on certain products, personalization is the thing that gets de-scoped. And so you put that off, and then you've lost the digital strategy team that you've engaged with that will help you. And so then the marketer is left on their own with no kind of strategy team to sort of assist them with that first engagement with personalization products. So that's been actually a primary goal for us recently, is how to take those first steps into personalization. And so we actually see AI being the key here. So what we are launching this year is our vision for AI inside of XM Cloud is as your marketing strategy co-pilot. AI being the co-pilot and an assistant to give you suggestions for personalization, because they know your audiences, they know your site goals, because you set your site goals, you set your audiences, AI knows your brand. It knows
your tone of voice,
exactly.
all of that good
And
stuff,
so now
right?
it knows your brand, it knows the goals for your channel, it knows your audiences. And what we're doing in XM Cloud is it knows your content. It knows the presentations that do well with your audiences, the components that are most engaged with. And so it can make incredibly, nuanced suggestions about what is a great personalization suggestion, and not just about content, but as I said, presentation too.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
presentation?
this isn't just a case of changing the headline or the image. It's more structural than that, right?
Absolutely. Like try this hero banner. This one is more successful than this other one, because it's I don't know, a bit more of an engagement with this kind of audience. And so this idea that even like the most hesitant marketer has a starting point. Now, the AI isn't going to do your job for you, but it can get you started. It can take you over that first step where you might just be a little hesitant about where to go.
Yeah.
And so some helpful suggestions that are actually meaningful and targeted to your brand, to your audiences, to what is most meaningful for your enterprise. And that is what our vision is for AI. It is so targeted around your marketing strategy and your enterprise intelligence. And I think that is an incredibly strong like marketing tech vision for artificial intelligence, and so much bigger than just kind of content generation.
Yeah, and I think that's the key point here as well, because you think of how we get approvals for copy changes, and in websites when we're building new messaging. Like one of our esteemed colleagues, Jacqueline Baxter, is our director of content here at Sitecore, talks about approvals. Approvals is where great stuff goes to die. Whereas if you have all of these kind of personalization options, you can feed the right one and you can figure out which works best. Then you're taking it beyond the realm of opinion and then into something that has hard data behind it. I think that's really key.
So this is a really great point for two reasons. So one is we have in XM Cloud, we've recently launched A/B testing, and so ABN testing. So the great part is that all of our AI suggestions automatically can deploy A/B testing. So you can just test out whether or not any of these suggestions are valid or not, and get some data behind it very quickly. Make sure that any of these things are worth an investment in, and move on. But the other thing you're talking about with approval, this brings me to Sitecore Stream. So
I like your segue. Yeah.
so one of my favorite things about Sitecore Stream is Sitecore Stream Orchestrate, which is a set of sort of campaign management, task and project management capabilities, but also workflow management capabilities. These capabilities actually have a deep integration with XM Cloud, including collaboration, approval capabilities. And so in this setup, if you need human governance, it's right there. So if you do absolutely, there's tons of enterprises who are absolutely going to need like human oversight into anything generated with AI. And so if you need, workflows set up so that AI creation always has human eyes on it, and that there's flows and approvals, but that there's, right in place user collaboration and great task management tools, all of that comes with XM Cloud and these like lovely ways that are just AI empowered for human and AI agents to just work in great collaboration. So we've been just so excited about this like nonstop collaboration with the Sitecore Stream team.
Yeah, because I think when you think about AI and speed, everybody thinks about speeding up content generation, for example. But if you're hitting a bottleneck on approvals, you're not getting anything out the door any faster.
Exactly.
The raw material and the versions that you bring up the chain in terms of the workflow and approval process becomes faster, but you don't get any faster in your workflow. And I think that's what's so important about what you just outlined there.
Absolutely. And then I think the other thing to me, just to kind of jump back to the concept of like personalization and AI, this is kind of a nerdy technical conversation.
Bring it on.
Okay. So one thing that I've been kind of uniquely, this is the developer in me, but one thing that I've been uniquely obsessed about with personalization is dynamic, but also AI generation is dynamic, but it's also what you would call streaming, right? So when an AI agent is creating content, it does so in kind of a streaming way. Like you'll see that where the AI is writing something and it streams back to you on a GPT.
Yes.
Now, if that was happening in real time, like I had a kind of AI personalizing something for you in real time on a website, you have this kind of streaming content coming back to you. Now, that's an awesome experience. It's like fast streaming content. However, that can be slow when it's handled from a CMS.
Yeah.
So there are all these new super cool tech where when developers control that experience, they can make it really, really fast. And so there's new frameworks out there that do this kind of streaming framework stuff that makes this stuff really, really fast. But it doesn't work really well when a marketer controls it.
Yeah.
And so this is the problem that we are obsessed with solving, is like shifting that. So that a marketer has full control of doing those kinds of patterns, and yet it's just as fast as when a developer controls it. Yeah. So it's a super nerdy little problem, but it is what I mean when I talk about marketer-owned technology, is solving these little problems like that, where a marketer has full control over everything and still gets all of those little performance optimizations that like have typically just been in the realm of developer things.
Yeah, and I think that's where this concept of the digital dream team comes in, where you have that really nice interlock between the marketing and the developer organization. We're moving to that world where marketers have that little bit more control, but when they're working with a really great partner, really great set of IT development teams, that's where you really see some massive impacts, especially in our customers, I think.
Absolutely. And it's actually something that we keep seeing with our customers. When we speak to our customers, the marketers and the developer teams, they want to do the best for each other all the time. And they want to, empower each other and not get in each other's way sometimes, or all the time. But sometimes that means that we need to surface tooling that allows each team to do what they do best together. And that is one of the more fun projects we have coming up, is what we call the design library. And this is a place in which we see designers and marketers and developers coming together to create presentations and handle presentations in the ways that are most fit for each of those different people. So designers maybe using Figma or other kinds of presentation files, and then marketers doing what they know how to do in low-code tools, and then developers being able to get right at the code and having code that fits best in their own code systems. And again, leveraging AI to be this seamless conduit to transition and transform everything into what's best for each of those personas.
I love how all of these things kind of come together, and I think a lot of things came together at Symposium in Nashville in October. The launch of Sitecore Stream has been massive for Sitecore, and the interest level that is generated has been phenomenal. What are you most excited about? I know you've outlined how the workflow is going to integrate with XM Cloud. When it comes to Sitecore Stream, how is that going to augment XM Cloud and the overall CMS experience at Sitecore?
Yeah, absolutely. Sitecore Stream is deeply integrated into XM Cloud. So one of the things that will be released quite soon with regards to Sitecore Stream and XM Cloud is content generation and brand intelligence. So the content generation features of XM Cloud, the kind of variant improvement features. I have content. I might want to create a variant of that content and run an A/B test against that. but I can pull in from my brand intelligence features of Sitecore Stream that intelligence of my brand in order to create that variant information. And so if I have Sitecore Stream, I now have all of that intelligence about my brand. So I can, select in my site, connect it to which brand that's associated with, and then all of that content generation is now super rooted in that learn service. So one of the strengths of Sitecore Stream is this notion of enterprise intelligence, brand intelligence, code intelligence. We're going to be pushing like analytic intelligence, like insight about your strategy. And so as we build these, I say we, and I know it's the Sitecore Stream team, but I feel deeply associated with that team. But as these intelligence services are being built in Stream and they surface through into XM Cloud, you can leverage the knowledge of your own enterprise like just directly inside of XM Cloud.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the strengths of this relationship between Stream just flowing through XM Cloud. And then, as I mentioned, Sitecore Stream's Orchestrate application just has a native integration in XM Cloud. So all the collaboration tooling and the task management and the campaign management.
Yeah, I think I love how that Orchestrate aspect goes across all of our products.
Absolutely.
And augments absolutely everything that we're here today talking about CMS, and we've got our bias towards XM Cloud, of course, but across the entire portfolio from Content Hub, Digital Asset Management, CMP, CDP, Site Search, all of that fun stuff. Sitecore Stream touches every piece of it, right?
Absolutely.
And XP as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So one thing is, so I manage the XM Cloud group, but so the XM Cloud group also oversees what we call the Sitecore Cloud Services. And so the Sitecore Cloud Services is the shared SaaS platform that all of our SaaS products sit on. So that would be the Sitecore Cloud Portal, our unified identity management, and our marketplace. So I do, I know we're talking about content management, but I do actually care about all of our products because I manage the unified platform that all of our products sit on. So we certainly care about our marketplace and the unified management of everything. So because I oversee, the Sitecore Cloud Services, I think the reason why the leader of the XM Cloud group oversees the Sitecore Cloud Services is because in many ways XM Cloud is already grounded in a shared relationship with so many of the other Sitecore Cloud products, right? Like Sitecore, like XM Cloud is already embedded natively with Sitecore Personalized and CDP, and we have a lovely integration with Content Hub, Stand, and Sitecore Search, and soon to come really lovely integration with Order Cloud and our commerce solution. So in so many ways, XM Cloud is always geared towards a native feel with the rest of the Sitecore products.
Yeah, I love all of that, and I think that kind of composability story still rings super true for us. I do want to talk about the future of websites, right? Because it's really where I think most brands are still driving most of their traffic. I think there is a lot of talk recently about how the website is going to evolve in the age of AI with LLMs, etc. We know from the research that we do with our customers that about 69% of them about 70% of them want to do personalization better. They want better SEO. They want more high quality content, a bit like the content we're creating here today. Like how do you see the future of websites as a kind of an intrinsic part of that kind of CMS, and how do you see it evolving?
Yeah, future of websites. So I think from what I've seen from our customers, there's the challenge of content creation in any age, and now in the age of AI, and how to have relevant content for your brand, have relevant experiences for your customers, and how to elevate yourself to be noticed in the traffic and inundation of the internet. And so if we focus on that, just being recognized in the internet, the kind of SEO challenge, right? I think there's a new challenge there, which is that traditional SEO is kind of rooted in search engines, and now all of a sudden there's this new kind of search that's emerged, which is LLM rooted search, and I don't know if there's really a science yet of how to manipulate the LLM search, which is essentially technical SEO for GPT or for Claude or any of the other LLMs. But I've always been less of a technical SEO person myself. Like, good content wins always. You can do your keyword attacks to get yourself on those top lists for Google. Like, it's absolutely necessary to do that work, and that really does make a difference, especially for smaller companies. And that is how a smaller company will differentiate. But for your bigger brands, or honestly, just good content wins. So how does one make good content that is relevant to your users, that is appropriate for your brand, and that stands out in a crowd of content? I think that's the challenge, and that is the challenge to the marketer. And like, AI can be that assistant, but that is where we target what we can know about you, what we can know about your customers, what we can know about your intent, your brand, and that is what we are honing in on at Sitecore, is this idea of helping you know your own content better, helping you dig in and leverage AI to gain more insight into your audiences, into your intelligence, and just be there as that ever-ready assistant to expand your capability.
Yeah, because I know we talked about that content reservoir, but I also think there's that danger that if you use and base all your future content based on what you've done before, maybe you're not tapping into the new trends that are out there in the market. And I think that's the layer that the marketer is going to have to overlay on top to make sure that that content quality improves, certainly builds on what's there before, your brand voice, your tone, all of those different things. But how are you taking it and making it something that the market is going to want to see in the future rather than always looking back?
Well, this is always the case, right? Like AI, data science, analytics, they're all historic information, right? They're all just giving you information about the past, and so none of those are spaces for future-looking innovation. Like, that is still the realm of human beings. That is still the realm of creativity, and like, just that's the space for the magic of people still. And so,
I love that. And like, to close us out today, I do want to give you an opportunity as that lead in the XM Crowd group at Sitecore to maybe give a plug for some of the new things that you're thinking about for XM Cloud and in that group that maybe we haven't talked about already.
So I think I have so many favorite new things. It's hard to
I'll give you three.
Okay. So I know I've talked about Design Library before, but I want to say something what I think is kind of foundational and interesting to me about Design Library. In the realm of content management, we have often, or even just in the realm of martech, we have thought about content and digital assets. But the way we think about Design Library is that there's this third top level domain, and that is what we call the design asset. And we are treating it with the respect that it deserves as a third top level asset, where it is this odd combination of thing where it's kind of a design file, design presentation asset, and part content and part code. And because it's these three things, and that triad of designer and marketer and developer, it has a unique domain. It's a whole other entity that should be treated as a distinct asset. And we've created a whole application and interface and space for it to elevate it to the third realm of a content management system. And we've been talking to our customers about this, and I think one of our customers said, I feel seen, which was like
everybody wants to be, right?
Yeah, which was a really validating comment. But in general, I think it's really resonating with people, and we're really excited for the launch of it. And then, and so in our page building application, we are about to launch a series of analytics and personalization tooling that's just built in. So our goal in our Pages application is to make it the best experience and optimization building tool on the market. So we're going way beyond just like, I can build a website and I can build a page, but I can continuously optimize and personalize my experiences over time. And so like that's our goal, and I think we're really hitting that.
Yeah, and I love how that moves you beyond that set it and forget it type mold, right?
Exactly.
It's really like it's this evolving, living thing that you want it to be.
Absolutely. So that we're just super excited about. And we have a really cool set of developer frameworks that are coming out. It's just a total upgrade on some of our framework patterns. We call them leaner modern starter kits, and we're really excited about them. It's an expansion of framework support, all kinds of new modern meta frameworks, and the patterns we just think are really nice, and the way in which our developer customers have responded to it has been really incredible. So.
Yeah, I love hearing how you break down and you don't even know you're doing it almost. It's this in terms of its strategy, how we are marketer focused, but also continuing to deliver for our developer audience as well. I love that. I don't think you even realize that you're kind of talking about it in that way, but it's really core to what Sitecore are doing in that we are thinking about the marketer, we're thinking about that end customer, but we're thinking about how we actually develop these things and how we give our developers the tools to really create amazing, amazing experiences. This has been the Digital Visionary series. Liz, thanks so much for joining me on the couch today.
Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you.